a bonus episode. Today, I left a couple of things on the docket today on the show, so we're gonna get extra time. But it's okay. I did say, one thing I forgot was tonight is actually a national championship game. This one goes too long, but it's not gonna be a long one. That's what she said. No, national championship game is tonight. Prediction, I think was it spread now? The spread is what? I think it was 13 points. Georgia minus 13. I mean, I want it to be close. I want TCU to actually win. Although I don't hate Georgia, so I don't necessarily... I don't mind Georgia wins the game, honestly. It's 13 points. It stayed 13 since it opened up a week and a half ago, whatever. A week ago. I just don't know. I think Georgia got their wake-up call. They got a wake-up call last week against Ohio State. And not to say Ohio State's not a bad team. Obviously, you make the Final Four. You actually, obviously you somewhat belong, I guess. But I don't know. I just want to see a competitive game. I was worried too because normally I think the last couple of years when they do the national championship game, there's no NBA games scheduled. And so I assumed there was no games scheduled. I was like, oh, fuck. So I'm going to have no games to watch tonight. I'm going to be able to watch this game be a blowout probably, and I have nothing to watch aside from that. But lo and behold, there are actually 6 games tonight in the NBA. So I'll have that on as well in the background tonight. Don't know if the wife want to watch it. I know she's into the sports thing with me now, but I don't know if she's going to... I don't think college football is still something that she really cares about. NBA definitely. NFL, she's getting into it, of course. Baseball, not so much. But I'm going to go ahead and pick. I'm just for the sake of entertainment, I want to take TCU plus 13. But I have a funny feeling Georgia's going to run out of the building. Not because TCU's not good enough to win this game, because they are. But I just don't see. I just think Georgia got the wake-up call last week. And I think now with everything coming up front of them, and I think also it's a big game in the sense that Georgia wins this game. That's 2 in a row. They are now the kings of the SEC, the kings of college football right now. By winning 2 in a row, they are now clearly better than Alabama and all that stuff. And I think mentally it's important to them as well too, just as much as everything else. So I think this game puts them really in a class by themselves at this point. I think winning this game, back-to-back national championship games in a parity-filled college football, separates Georgia from everybody else. We can say Georgia's I'll be better than Alabama, but now there's a gap between Georgia and everybody else now. And I think a win tonight will establish that, honestly. So give me, but I'm going to say, just for the sake of entertainment, give me plus 13 TCU on the game. And that's that. What else? So what I missed this morning on the podcast, this morning podcast? Well, we have some news on the Black Monday front. Kliff Kingsbury, as I mentioned on the show earlier, that they were supposed to have a press conference at 2:00. Well, I mean, the writing's on the wall for a while now that he's going to get fired. He got fired today, following a 4-13 season. This team fell apart pretty much at the seams. Nowhere to go. They started the year without Johnny Hopkins. Kyler Murray, was up and down most of the season. But we've been saying since last year that Kingsbury is kind of he's not quite the guy. He's more of a college guy, and I think college ball is going to suit him more moving forward. So, not surprised they're coming out in the front here with Kingsbury getting fired by the Arizona Cardinals today. We'll see. That's what, 5 jobs now open. Also, the GM got fired too as well. Wow, GM got fired. So they're cleaning house. Probably won't get rid. I'm sure they won't be able to get rid of Kyler Murray either. So that's first year in his contract. But we'll see how the Cardinals react to everything. Making another regime in there and see if they can right the ship. The NFC is wide open. It's your top teams, like you seen this year, it's Philadelphia, it's San Francisco, trending up. Minnesota's up and down, even though they're 13-4. Can you really trust that long term? I don't know. The Cardinals were a playoff team last year. So it's not to say that they couldn't get bounced back and be in contention again. I mean, look at the Seattle Seahawks. We all had them for dead this year. We thought they would be a arguable number one draft pick, team, and instead they made the playoffs. Detroit Lions bounced back in a big way this year. They had a number 2 pick last in the playoff in the draft, and then they were literally a tiebreaker from making playoffs. So the NFL, that's something the NFL is amazing, is that the NFL you're not that far away. If you have a quarterback, if you have pieces around, you can always bounce back. You always a pick or a move away from getting back contention. I mean, like I said, Arizona was just there last year, and they fell back this year. Look at the Raiders this year. They were playoff team last year, and they bounced back to earth. And you have a lot of teams. There's a lot of things there that if the Cardinals do the due diligence and they have talent on that team, they have top 10 receiver in the league, and Kyler Murray when he's healthy and when he's actually focused, not playing fucking video games, is actually a top 10, 12 quarterback in the league. He's very talented. Gotta figure it out. But aside from that, you're always one step away. By the way, I brought up my my Trevor Lawrence argument I had earlier today on the podcast. I brought up to a couple coworkers today, and they were vehemently against the top 5 thing. They understood my argument, but they said that there's no way in hell he can be a top 5 guy. He has to take a major leap. And I agree with that. Like I said, I'm not, again, my point was this morning was not, I'm not saying that he will be a top 5 guy when the season's over. I'm defending the fact that this space now, there's real estate now available because of the fact that the guys that were in the top 10 last year, I had a top 10 list. I did a podcast on this last year. A top 10 list. More than 50% of those guys are either trending down or no longer in the top 10 anymore. I had Matt Stafford there last year, this past year. He clearly was not top 10 this year. Plus, he was hurt. I had, who else I had? I had Dak Prescott. I believe I was close to that. I got a couple guys there. The only 3 guys that you're looking at that's going to be guaranteed to be there no matter what is Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, and then not Herbert. I'm sorry, Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow. Herbert being the wild card 4th guy. Okay, we're throwing Jalen Hurts possibly start next year. Lamar Jackson obviously in the mix. But after that, it's wide open. Because you can make an argument right now that if I'm starting on a top 10 list next year, based on this season's results, Kirk fucking Cousins is probably in top 10. The numbers bear out. I mean, we don't trust him, but the numbers bear out. That's the point. Aaron Rodgers, probably still top 10 quarterback, but shit ending to the year this year. Tom Brady, probably top 10, but again, still in a downswing. So that's a lot. It's not as snug as it was before. Dak trending down. Let's look at the list of the quarterbacks in the league now. Okay? So you can say Tua, but Tua, again, we know that situation Tua. And by the way, I haven't got any blowback yet on the, my controversial thing about me wanting him to play, if he wants to play. Not yet. No blowback yet on that one. I've been telling people that today, they haven't given me shit for that. Obviously Zach Wilson not there. So go to the AFC North. So Joe Burrow's in the lead. So obviously Lamar Jackson, obviously not the conversation, but you have Deshaun Watson, who hasn't played in 2 years, and then when he came back this year, like dog shit. All right, Kenny Pickett, no. AFC South. So obviously Trevor Lawrence. So Kenny Pickett, no. No, sorry, AFC South. I'm sorry. My bad. Ryan Tannehill may not even have a team next year. Might be a free agent. Davis Mills, no. Matt Ryan, obviously might retire. Derek Carr's not there right now. Who else? Russell Wilson, no. I love the guy. The NFC East, Dak trending down. Daniel Jones not there yet. Commanders have a quarterback, so no. Justin Fields not there yet, obviously. Jared Goff not there, but he's solid. AFC South, NFC South rather. Jameis Winston or whoever it is, and Dalton, whoever it is, quarterback is in New Orleans. They don't have a quarterback, so it doesn't matter. Not top 10. Excuse me. Ooh, God. Who else I'm thinking about here in the NFC South? Sam Darnold. Hey, Darnold. No. We said Brady already. Falcons not a quarterback either. NFC West. Brock Purdy. No, not there yet. Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance, that matter. Geno Smith. That's interesting, but no. Gotta see more. Colin Murray was there 2 years ago. So, like I said, it's wide open. There's not much. A lot of these guys that were top 10 last year or two are trending down. So my point was that Trevor Lawrence has an opportunity to crack it. That's all I'm saying. Last thing here, but it's bonus, unfiltered for January 9th, 2022, as this moron behind me is on a fucking drive. The Heat got screwed last night. Jimmy Butler got screwed. Nets win that game at the arena. Kevin Durant got hurt. We'll see how that MRI goes. Look, I'm a Heat fan. I want to see all the players play. I'm that guy that, while I probably benefit from Durant not playing because it hurts the Nets, it helps the Heat chances of climbing the ladder, I like to see stars play. I'm an NBA fan first. But that last play of the game, Jimmy Butler got hurt. Got fucking fouled. And my thing is, I know Jimmy said at the end of the game that, it wasn't a foul. And I think he's just trying to say that, not to start any trouble and trying to be a tough guy and not make excuses. But I get all that. But let me go ahead and take over here. That if that's they call a foul on that in the second quarter of the game. If that's a fucking foul in the second quarter of a game, in the first quarter of a game, in the middle of the third quarter, then that's a foul at the end of the game. If it's a foul, it's not a foul. If you're not calling that at the end of the game, you don't call that all of a sudden in the first quarter either. And I get the officials have a hard job. They have a tough job. I totally get that. But doesn't mean that they got it right here. They got it totally wrong. And, as a Heat fan, losses like this now become a problem because look at the Eastern Conference right now. There is, barring a miracle, barring a team on top of the East, top 5 team in the East, there is no way the Heat are going to get in the top 5 now. Because Milwaukee, Boston, Brooklyn, Cleveland, and Philadelphia have the top 5 seeds locked up in barrel. So right now, the Heat ceiling for me is a 6 seed. I just want to avoid a play-in. And I said this when you were starting. People thought, people was fucking nuts when I said this, that I can see Heat playing in a play-in situation because of how deep the East has gotten this year. And if the Heat don't get their act together, they can be in a play-in situation. And now, right now, if it's supposed to day, they're an 8 seed playing in a play-in situation. And the play-in is dangerous because it's pretty much one and done. Oh, the 8 seed, you get two cracks in it. But, it's one of those things where when you've lost so many games early in the year and you play mediocre basketball most of the seasons where you don't have enough space or enough, the margin of error is smaller for the team now. And I get it, but most of the league is that way too. The Warriors are playing 500 basketball themselves, and there's a lot of teams playing in that same milk. But again, that's what that Laker loss bothered me last week because there was an opportunity there to go have a 4-1 road trip, and you lose to a Lakers team that didn't have LeBron or AD. That's a problem. So I don't know. He got screwed there. I'm sorry. I thought he got screwed. Anyway, is there anything else I forgot? Anything else? Did I clear the palette for Monday? So I'll do a third podcast today. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. We'll talk soon. EJChristen7 on Twitter. Next pod tomorrow. I got a lot of podcasts. I'm recording a lot of podcasts. By the way, if you love NBA basketball, like I said, I announced on the show last week I have a NBA podcast, a weekly podcast I do every week. Solo podcast. It's like a shortened 10, 15-minute show, 5 observations of things I've seen in the league. That's on the Huddle Up Podcast Network, which check out my on my social media. I finally did it. I actually create a LinkedIn account. So all my work now, all the shows I do, all the blog and the YouTube page, everything, social medias, you name it, all in one spot. You can find it. So I do that every week. But also, I am dusting off the In the Pain podcast that I did last year with my buddies Zach and Chris. We're getting back to it this week. I think tomorrow night when we record that podcast. So look out for that. Subscribe on your podcast catcher. It's up there now. Last year I had it on the main feed, or podcast feed. This year it's going to be on its own feed now. So, In the Pain. And with myself, Zach, and Chris. It's a 3-man weave. It's not just my show. It's a show of myself and Chris and Zach. So it's not just me. And another show that I did last year that I haven't done in a while, but is my wrestling retro podcast, the Wrestling Retrospective, which I did 2 episodes last spring, and I haven't touched on it since. We'll dust that back off soon at some point in the next couple weeks. And again, like the In the Pain, difference this time, it'll be on its own feed. So again, you can find that as well on any podcast catcher as well. Again, if you go to my LinkedIn page, you'll find all that stuff on my LinkedIn page, already linked up and stuff, and you can subscribe to any of the podcast catchers you so desire. So I think that's it for me. So tomorrow we'll do another one. So I got to do one of these tomorrow. There's a podcast with Kyle Nash tomorrow. I got to record and one for the Hull Up podcast feed, and then In the Pain to kick off season 2 tomorrow. So I got a lot going on tomorrow, Tuesday, But we'll talk soon. Get at me later.